Hello, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to link your Next.js application to Stripe API. So I have a simple shop here, and what we are focusing on is these products and the shopping cart path. So right now it's empty. So a little or a simple demo. The links are not very important, so they are not linking anywhere. It's just placeholders. So if I click on this bag, it's added to my shopping cart. So I can increase the quantity. I can add another item like that. So I have these 3 items. If I click on proceed to checkout, it's going to take me to the Stripe dashboard where I'm supposed to add my email. So I'll just choose one from here. Then I'm using the test card number Stripe provides for testing. Then the expiry date should be later than today. Then the security number, you put any and pass my name here. And you can see all the products that I've purchased are listed in Kenya shillings, but I can also toggle that in USD. Then I'll just go ahead and pay. Thanks. So it's successful and it takes me back to my application, and you can see the cart is now emptied. Then I have also created an endpoint here that is going to fetch all the orders. This normally happens in admin dashboard. So consider I have an order here that I just made recently in US dollars. It's listed the products that the customer purchased and the quantity of each product. So simple UI to test that. So that is enough for a demonstration. Let's now move to the setup and the coding part. This is my basic code base. So I'm going to run this so that we see what is working and what is not working. Then I'll also take you through the structure of the code quickly so that you get the true picture. But of course, after recording everything, I'm going to leave the link to the GitHub repo because I'm going to push the code to GitHub. So I'll just run it with the command npm run tunnel. So I'll explain why I'm using the npm run tunnel. So when I run that command, see that in the terminal, there are some logs being passed there, like there is a ngrok tunnel established at this domain. And there is also forwarding of the domain to localhost 3000. So I'll access the app through the domain, control, click that, then it's going to open it in the browser. So let it load up. And there I have the website running. So this is my shop. So right now the shopping cart is working. So I'm able to add more items. But if I click on proceed to checkout, that doesn't work because I haven't implemented that. It's very important that we start from the checkout part because coding this from scratch is going to take us a lot of time. And also, that is not the mission of this video. The purpose of the video is to get you connect Stripe to your Next.js application. So let me go to the code base and just explain what is happening. This page here, which is the shop, consider I have several products here. These actually are not coming from any database. I've just used a free API that has provided me products. So if I go to my code base, I'll go to the home directory. this page.tsx, see that I'm fetching some data using Redux toolkit. So I have set up my Redux in this section here known as store. So you can see that this is the configuration I have. I have the API slice. So this API slice is the one that is actually fetching data from this API. It's known as the fake store API. So if I just copy that address and paste it here, this is the fake API. So you can read through the docs and see how you can do the implementation. And you can see that it works with several languages. We have JavaScript, Python, and Java. Then if I come back to the code base, so after fetching this, because I'm interested with all the products, so I've just fetched all the products. Then coming back to the page.tsx, I'm calling my query here to get my data. And that is the data now that I'm passing to a product card. So the product card is in the components, which is this one here. Because I'm using Tailwind CSS for my styling, everything is mapped out like that. Then I also have this header, which is the top section of the page, this one here, that other part. These links don't mean anything for now because they're just there to make it a bit beautiful. Our main area is the cart. Even the favorites doesn't work for now. Main section is the shopping cart. Then let me just go back to the code base. After that, I'll go back to the shopping cart Redux. So I have the cart slice. So in the cart slice, what is happening is that I'm able to create an array. Initially, my cart is empty when the page loads, and I'm only able to update my cart based on the events, the conditions that are coming into my Redux slice. So this is not Redux video again. It should be something that you are familiar with. And if you're not familiar with this, it's not necessarily that you use Redux for this purpose. You can even use the context API provided by React, and you'll be able to achieve the same objective. Then we have like the events here. We have adding to cart, removing, increment the quantity, decrement the quantity, open the cart, and closing the cart. All that is mapped out. That's why we have this working shopping cart. So we can add our items, and if you continue adding, you'll see that it's just increasing the quantity of the item in the shopping cart. So after that, we proceed and get all our products from the shopping cart. So if I go to the shopping cart component, which is this one here. So the UI that you see at this section is this shopping cart component. So right now, this button doesn't do anything. And I just want us to get our data after adding items into the shopping cart. What do we get? So we have the dispatch method here, and this dispatch is coming from Redux. So we are able to use the dispatch in several sections. One is to decrement, and the other one is to increment and decrement our products. Then After that, we're also able to get all the data from the shopping cart using the app selector hook provided by Redux, of course. So right now, our shopping cart is represented by these items. So if I just log the items, we'll be able to see the kind of data that we are getting. So console log items. Just save it like that. Then I'm just going to inspect my page so that we are able to see the logs. See, we have a lot of logs being printed out, and these ones are coming from the header. I think I'm logging something from the header component, so I'll just go to the header and remove this for now so that it doesn't confuse what is being printed in the browser log. So I'm refreshing my page. Just clear what I have here. Then I'll go ahead and add items to the shopping cart, and you can see that it's being loaded here. So I have 2 items. Each item is actually an object with the category, description, ID, and then the image URL, the price, and the quantity. So if I increase this, you'll see that in the second log, we have an item which now has the quantity of 2. Then we're also able to get the price of each item. This one comes by default when the fake API provides the data for all these items that I've listed here. So going back to the code, you can see that I'm able to get all my items. This is for closing the shopping cart. Is the state that controls that. We don't need to worry about that. So I've used the array reduce method here so that I'm able to get the total expenditure or the total amount your client or the customer is supposed to spend on the shopping cart. So if you look at my shopping cart, I've added some shipping fee, a default or fixed shipping fee of $10. So that one is also included. This is my shipping fee. I'm only calculating the shipping fee if there is something in the shopping cart, so that when the cart is empty, like let's remove everything, the submit button or checkout button will not be there because we've also disabled the shipping fee. It will be awkward to have a shipping fee of nothing. So only when we add something to the shopping cart, that is when the shipping fee will also be activated. So that is what I've done for the shipping fee. So the total amount to be paid now is going to be the subtotal plus the shipping fee, which is going to be 22 and 30, then 10, then that is $32.30. So this is what we expect to send to Stripe. So coming back to this, we need to create a backend endpoint so that we are able to send this information to the backend, and the backend is now going to communicate with the Stripe API. So to achieve that, I'll go ahead and just create API endpoint inside this API folder. So I'll create a subfolder here known as a checkout. Then within the checkout, of course, I'm going to create a route. So I need to create a new file here. Of course, it's supposed to be route.ts. That. So within the route.ts, we need to create our order number. so that we are able to track all the orders that our customers are making. So I'll be using the date, a current timestamp or the current date, so that we are able to create a unique numbers. So just created a function for that. Let me just paste it here, and I will explain what is happening here. So we prefix the word order, then we get the tab now, and we do this maths.flow and multiply that by 1,000. Then after that, we create a post request here. So I'm going to export function because it's going to be a synchronous function, and let's complete this synchronous function. This function is going to be a post. This post is going to take a request, the parameter, and the request. We need to get the request type from Next.js. So the type is request. Our function is just going to return some data. Now, so inside the function, I'll pass the try catch so that I'm able to catch all the errors. Now, if you go to the browser and search for Stripe, let's search for Stripe API. There is an API reference here. There are a lot of methods and functions of the Stripe API, but for this case, we are going to concentrate on the checkout. Consider there is an installation of Stripe here. Just copy this. Go to your Node.js application. So our case is Next.js, which is part of Node.js. I'll just go here and add a new terminal so that I'm able to install that. You can as well go to npm. Then within the npm, search for Stripe. It's helpful to go through npm because from the npm, we are able to find out whether it has the types. Yeah, so it's already in TypeScript, so we don't need to add anything else. So let's come back and see if the installation is complete. So up to date, I had installed this earlier, but for your case, it means that you need to do everything from scratch. So if you're building your own shopping cart, then you'll need to do everything from scratch. So right now, let's get the items, because we are going to send the information that we've listed on the front end part here. The total and also the items. We are going to send this to the checkout route. Basically, we are going to send this information now to the checkout route. So let's first see if we are able to get that or catch that information. So to catch the information, we're going to destructure the cart items. So say const cart items. It's the same as await request.json. That. Then we can just test by logging our items. So cart items like that. So right now we haven't done anything. So we need to work on the front end, create a function in the front end so that we are able to send that information to the checkout route. So I'll just come to the cart and just remove this lock. I'll create a function known as handle checkout. So const handle checkout handle checkout. Hope that is the correct spelling. So this is going to be a synchronous function because we are going to be making requests to the Stripe API. So we are going to wait for some data to come back. I'll just use the try catch. We also need some loading here, this button, to show that there is something happening, which is a good practice. So to achieve that, we are just going to create a hook here. We use a state hook for the loading and the set loading. So sure you have imported that. So the first thing when we call the function, before even the try catch, we need to set the loading to true. Then in the try catch, we make a request, and in the request we expect a response. So I'll just say const response short is going to be await at the fetch. So we are making a request to our checkout endpoint. So it's going to be API then checkout. So first parameter there is going to be the URL. So it's going to be API then checkout. That. Then the next one is going to be our data. So in the, not the data, but more information. So we have the method, which is going to be the HTTP method or a request type, which is going to be post method. Then apart from that, headers. For the headers, we shall pass an object here with the first key going to be content type. Just copy that and paste quick so that we don't spend a lot of time typing everything from scratch. That. Then apart from the headers, we now need the body of our data. So for the body also, I'll just copy that from my notes and paste it here so that we don't spend a lot of time again. So we have our response. Then after sending this data, making a request, we need to get the data. So we just say const data. Is the same as our response. .json. That. Now, let's do some logs and see if we are going to get anything. So maybe when there is an error, just log this error for now. But also log the data. Because we are now going to call our function at the bottom, which is the button. So So we just pass an event here, which is a click event. So on click, I'll pass an anonymous function here, which is going to call now handle checkout. I think we don't even need anonymous function. We just need to call it directly. The handle checkout directly like that. So we can add the loading and so that we are able to see that something is going on. So when the loading is on, it should tell us it's processing. Then if the loading is false, then the processing will be out, which will instruct our users to check out. We can also add the disable that bit here so that we want to disable the events on the button if the loading is true. So if I save this, just come back to terminal and go back to the browser. Just refresh the page. Clear this. Add some items to the cart. And check out. You see it's processing. I think there is an error here that says that uncaught promise. So uncaught promise, syntax error, unexpected. This doc type is not a valid JSON. So it's saying that this is not found. The 404, it's returning that error. So let's see if we've done it correctly. So in the function, there is a spelling error here or a typo. So this is supposed to be checked out like that. So if I save that, just refresh page. Clear this. Add items. Maybe use the amount of these bags to 3. Then check out. So you see that 4 or 5 method not allowed. Okay. So let's do some debugging and see what the issue is. Just minimize the terminal. So within our route, the method that we have allowed is actually the post method. And there is also nothing being logged here. There is an error actually. So the post method, there's a typo here. We are supposed to make these capital or uppercase characters. So after making that uppercase, then just refresh everything. It's part of debugging. So don't worry about those errors. Still getting 500. And if I come back here, we're actually getting our data being logged. So which means that the request is true. So there's no response. No response is returned from the handler. That's why we are getting the 500 error in the browser. So we shall proceed just coding after we've got the cart items. At least we are now sure that there's data coming from the front end. So we can now proceed. First thing I want to do is just handle the errors. So in case there's no cut items, or the array is not an array, or the length of the cut items is 0, then we just return the 400 with the message of no cut items provided. So we need to import this next response from next server. And then, of course, if this condition is not met, it means that everything is okay. I have also created a connection to the MongoDB database here. So I have a library folder or a lib folder here where I'm just creating a connection to MongoDB. Then in the environment variables, I need to pass my MongoDB environment variables here. Also, I have an environment variable for ngrok auth token, which allows me to do the tunneling to ngrok. So if you're not familiar with that and you want to implement that so that your application is available on a secure and free static domain like mine, I will leave the link to that video in the description of this video. I have done that video. I didn't want to include it here because it was going to take us a lot of time doing everything from scratch. So this is a very sensitive information that I'm not supposed to share the credentials, but I will just reset these credentials after recording the video, so there are no security concerns at all. So I need to be able to connect to my MongoDB database. So in that case, I'll need to pass the MongoDB variables. So I'll just hide this for now and pass the MongoDB URI. So maybe before I pass the MongoDB URI, the variable that I need is actually listed in the library section here. It's known as the MongoDB URI. So I need to pass that variable here so that I'm able to connect. Assuming that you're familiar with this. So I'll just add it while hiding my sensitive information, because for the MongoDB, I don't want to keep editing or keep updating my credentials. So I'll copy that and just save it behind the scenes and bring it back. So because I have updated my environment variable, then I need to restart my application with the npm run tunnel. So the npm run tunnel, maybe before I proceed, just to give you a snippet of what is happening. I have a package.json here. So I'm using concurrently to be able to, first of all, run my application development environment, which is just the same as this dev, npm run dev, which is going to run it at localhost 3000. So after running that, I'm going to run a JavaScript code that I've saved in this.ngrok.js, and this is going to spin up the ngrok connection or tunneling. Maybe I can just open that code and share it. It's here. Everything happens here. So I have a video that shows how to generate this file and connect everything together. So let me just close this. So after getting all the information, the next thing is to save this data in the database. So in that case, I'll need to create a model for that. And that model is going to cause first allow us to track the orders and also track the payment process, because the user does the checkout by clicking on this, and it takes the user to the Stripe page where the user is supposed to key in the card or the credit card information. Now, in some cases, maybe the user doesn't have enough money in the card and the payment fails, and you've already recorded the information in the database. So that is where the webhooks come in, because when we send this information, it's saved in the database with the pending value in the status section. So once Stripe confirms that it has received your payment, then it will send back that information to your application through the order number that we've created here. See, we've generated the order number. So this is going to track everything. Then it's going to change now the status to paid. So that's why we need the orders model. I'll just copy that model. I'll go to my models and create a file and just name it orders, order.ts. Then in this file, I'm going to paste the code and just explain everything. So we have all the products that we are getting from the shopping cart saved as an array. So the products are going to be an object which has a product ID, the quantity, the title, the price, the expenditure on the product. Then within the same order, shall have the amount, which is going to be the expenditure for that case, for that order. Then the order number is now going to help us to track with the Stripe confirmation, or to track the Stripe confirmation. Then of course for the status, we have the pending and the paid, and the default is going to be pending. So after Stripe has confirmed the payment, then it's going to send that information. Our code is going to change everything now to paid, the status. Then we have the timestamp, of course. It's going to track when the order was created and when the order was updated. That is, for example, when the information comes back from Stripe through the webhook, then we are able to update that to paid. So the timestamp is going to track that. So we have our model. Let's go back to the route so that we continue working on the checkout. So after receiving all the information and confirming that we have the items to be submitted, we are going to connect to MongoDB or to the database. So we just call the connect DB from the libraries and also import it at the top. So this is the MongoDB connection. Then after connecting to the MongoDB, we need to get our shipment fee, because I haven't sent that from the front end. So shipment is just going to be $10. Then after getting the shipment fee, we just want to calculate everything from the back end. So before we proceed, let me come back to the cart. And you see the information that we are sending is only the items. So even this total, the shipping and the total was not very necessary, because we're already doing that at the back end. So don't worry about that. I have explained everything. So what is happening here, we are getting the total amount using the array reduce method. And this one stands for item. And the item is using a type which is known as product. If you look at my code base, I have the types, and in the types I've only described what my product is supposed to look like. So I'll just come here and get that type from types like that, so that the error is gone. So we have the total. Then for the order number, we just call the function that is generating the order number, which is this one here. So let me just copy that and paste it here. So we have our order number. Then after getting the order number, the next thing now is now saving this information to the database. Let me do that. Just copy the code and paste it here and just explain what is happening. So we need to await order.create. So order is our model, so we need to import that. So I'll just do that, then import it from the models. It imported. It's actually imported. Our order is imported. Shall fix that later. So let's go back to the routes. I'm just seeing the TypeScript errors here. I'm wondering where they are coming from. So we create our order, that is saving that in the database. So we get our products is going to be the cart items dot map, because there are several of them. We are using the map method. So the product ID is going to be the item.id, then the quantity item.quantity, title is going to be item.title, price is going to be item.price, then amount is going to be item.price multiplied by the quantity of the item. So if the quantity can either be 1 or so. If it's more than 1, then we take the item dot quantity, then multiplied by this, then we change everything to string. Then the amount, of course, is going to be the total amount that you have calculated at the top here. Then the order number is of course the order number that we've called the top, and the status by default is pending. So that is going to save our information to the database. So after saving the information in the database, we now need to create a communication with the Stripe. So let me just get a comment for that. Create Stripe checkout session with the order number in the metadata. That is what we need to do. So I'll just go to Stripe documentation. I have API reference here. So within the API reference, I'll search for checkout. So we have the checkout object, and within the checkout, we need the sessions. So let me click on that. So the checkout sessions object, you can read through this. Checkout session represents your customer session as they pay for one-time purchase or subscription. So for our case, it's a one-time purchase. So through checkout or payment links, we recommend creating a new session each time your customer attempts to pay. And that is what we are going to do. So we are going to create a checkout session. So if I click on this, you'll see that this is the method that we are supposed to use. First of all, we need to create a Stripe object here. Then we use the Stripe now to create a checkout. So what I'm going to do is just go to the code base. Within the libraries, that is where I'm going to create the Stripe instance. So I'll just call it stripe.ts. So the method that is defined here is actually just the normal JavaScript, and we want a TypeScript. So we just convert this to TypeScript. So what I'm going to do is paste it here. I've already prepared that code. First of all, we import Stripe from Stripe, then export const Stripe, which is a new Stripe.process. We need a Stripe secret key. So I need to pass this to my environment variable. So what I'm going to do is first go to my Stripe account. So I'll just search for Stripe, not API, but just the Stripe dashboard for the business or for the customer. So I'm going to sign in because I have already created that. So let's give it a few seconds. So when I sign in, it takes me to my Sandbox account. And this is good for testing. So I need to get my credentials. I search for developer. Should be able to get the credentials. So there are API keys here. Also, I'm just displaying these keys here, which is not a good idea for the security purposes, but I'll reset them. So you should not be worried about this. But you should be careful with your own keys. You don't just display them carelessly like this. So what I'm supposed to use is the secret. So I'll copy the secret, go back to code base. Because I have the MongoDB variable listed in my environment variable, which is this file, I'll just hide it a little, bring it back after I've added the key. So I'm just adding it in the background. So I've added the Stripe secret. If I go back to the documentation now, of course, on this API path, which is this one here, see that the next thing is to create a session. Stripe.checkout.sessions.create, and this is the method that we are using. So I'll go to my code base, which is the route. I'm going to create that down here. So I have prepared my code. Let me just get it. And I'll explain what everything does, that we don't spend time typing everything from scratch. So we have a session, and this session is calling the Stripe. So what we have already defined here in the library. So I need to import that. That is why I have this error. So I'm importing that from libraries. So after doing that, we need to create a session. I need to pass my payment method, which is a card, then line of items. Because we have several items here, that's why I'm just structuring my array. Because the items that we are receiving from the front end is actually an array of objects. This one here, the cart items. So that's why you're seeing that I'm taking the cart items, then I'm mapping that so that I'm able to iterate every object and get its information. So the price data, in the price data, I'm passing the currency and I'm passing the product data. In the product data, I'm passing the name of the product, which is the same as item.title. I'm passing the unit amount because Stripe is calculating everything in cents, so I'm multiplying that by 100. Then I'm also passing the product quantity. So apart from that, I need to add the shipping as a separate line of item. So same key, which is product data, currency, the product data, the name is going to be the shipping fee, and the unit amount is going to be shipping fee multiplied by 100, because our shipping fee is 10, so we need to multiply by 100 cents, and the quantity of this one is only 1. So the mode of my checkout or session is payment. Then after that, I need the payment success URL and the cancel URL. So what it means is that after I've made the payment from my application, when I click on this, it's going to take me to the Stripe page. It's going to take me away from the application. So Stripe now needs to take you back to the application through the success URL that you have listed in the checkout session code. So in case the payment fails, I'll be redirected to this. So what I've done is that everything is just going to take me back to the home page. If it fails or if it succeeds, I'll just go back to the home page of my application, because I don't have several routes. I only have one route within my application. So I also need to pass this in environment variable. So for this case, what I'm going to do is just to scroll to hide my MongoDB. Just going to scroll everything up just to hide my MongoDB so that I'll be able to display the other credentials. That and bring it back. So this is my .env file. I'll go to the route and get the success URL. Paste it there as a variable. I'll also get the cancel URL and paste it down here as a variable. Then the success URL and the cancel URL are actually just my homepage, which is my domain, the domain that I have listed. So it's the same thing. So Stripe secret is also passed there. Then I'll just save the environment variable. Because I've loaded that, I'll just kill the app, restart it, that. Then I'll come back to the code base. So after the session is successful, we need to do something, or if the session fails, so we need to update our code base so that at least we are able to send back some response to our front end. So what I want to do is just pass the next response, JSON, then URL. Then I'm going to get the session.url. So URL is part of the session object that is going to be returned. So URL is one of the keys. So the URL now is going to be the Stripe URL. So when everything is successful, Stripe is able to confirm that this Stripe secret is correct. Then it's going to direct the user to this URL. So it's going to get us the URL. We take this URL to the front end. So we need just to do the error catching. Just prepare the code for that. Paste it here and explain what it does. So const error message, if there is an instance of an error, then we want to pass this as a message, and we return the error message, which I've stated here, and with a code of 500. I think the checkout is complete. I'll just come back here and restart the page. I'll also open my MongoDB so that we're able to monitor information being saved in the database. So I'll just open my Atlas, then sign in. So the page has just loaded. Let's wait for Atlas. So this is my dashboard. I'll browse clusters here. Then I have a database known as Stripe. That is what I've connected. It's actually Stripe Store, if I'm not wrong. Yes, it's Stripe Store. So you can see that I have orders here. I'm going to remove the orders so that we do have a fresh records being stored here. So I'll just delete this. So everything is deleted right now. So I'll go to the page and add a few items to the shopping cart with varying quantities. So let's make this 2 and let's make this maybe 4 or 5 like that. Then I proceed. So when I click on that, it is processing. And the promise, everything is pending. So right now, if I go to the MongoDB and just refresh this, you'll find that there is an information that has been saved in the database. So you can see that we have our total expenditure here, which is the same as 658 plus the shipping fee. So 648 plus 10 is going to be 658. Then we have the order number created for us, and it was created at this time, which is also the same as the update. And you can see that the status is pending. So I'll just remove this. Then go back to the front end part of the code, which is the cart. So after we've sent the information to the database, to the backend, we need now to get the response and take the necessary actions. So we have data.json. So we are going to check, because if you look at the route, our response is a URL. So we need to check for this URL in our shopping cart section. So data, we check if this data has a URL key. We want to use the window.location.href.data.url so that we are able to visit this URL. But if the URL is not there, we just create an alert that says that checkout failed, the way I've stated here. So there is a TypeScript error. URL does not exist on type promise. So we have the catch. We can just have a finally here. That then the finally, we just set the loading to false. So you can just fix this with the AI. I don't want to spend time here. So quick. Except that I hope it fixes everything. So we visit the URL that has been sent back from the backend. So let me go back to the app now and just refresh everything. And we add items. This time round, we only add 2. I've removed the record that was there, so let's check out. Processing, you can see that it takes us to Stripe. If I go to the MongoDB and refresh, see that we have 2 items, total expenditure and the status is pending. So it has taken us to the section where I'm supposed to put my card information. So the test card number for Stripe is 4242. So I'll just type that 4242 till it can't type anymore. So for the expiry date, just put any month ahead, which is, this is 2025. Like that. Security number, just put anything. I just call it Taluku, which is my name. Then I'll go ahead and pay. So when I pay, everything is going to be successful and it's going to take me to the success URL endpoint that I had listed in the code. So it's successful and you can see that it takes me back to the application. But now if you go to the MongoDB and refresh this, the status is still pending. So we also need to capture this. So we've completed the payment with the Stripe. So we need a webhook now that is going to be capturing that data. So I need to create another endpoint on the API. And that endpoint is known as a webhook. That. Within the webhook, I'll create route, of course. So route.ts. That. Then I'll go to my account. Let me just go back so that this is from scratch. So I'm here. You can search for webhooks, or if you are still on the developers section, just go back. I close this. Let's assume you're just on this other section here. So you'll just type for webhooks. So you search webhooks, and it's going to take you to this page. Then you need to create a destination where the webhook is going to send data. Then for the events, I have a list of events here. I'm just going to select all the events. Selecting all events may increase the latency and cause poor performance. For business analytics and the insights, they use data pipeline to sync your Stripe data to warehouse or BI tools. So what it means is that Stripe will be sending all types of events to your application in case they affect, like if there's anything affecting your account or any event that takes place in your account, then it's going to send that to your application. So the event that we are actually interested in is the payment event. Like the session has been completed. So maybe instead of selecting everything, we can just look for session. So let me uncheck this and type session. So session, to get it right. So the spelling of session is that. So within the session, we want an event known as a checkout .session.completed. So we just check that. That is the only event that we need to be sending to the application. So after that, I'll click continue to selecting the event. Then we need the endpoint. So click on endpoint, then continue. Destination name, you can just leave it like that, or you can type something there if you want. Like, we can call it next.js. Then the endpoint URL, of course, is going to be our application URL. First, copy that. Then paste it here. And if you go to the code, it is the backend part of the code, which is the API, then webhook. So I'll need to type API here, then webhook. I hope my spelling is correct. Description is optional, so leave it like that, and get the destination. So when you create the destination, it's going to give you a signature or a signing secret. So you need to pass this in your part of your Stripe credentials. Then there's a documentation here on the webhooks. So if you want to find out how it's created and how data is retrieved from the webhook endpoint, it's all here in the documentation. You can search, but I'm going to explain what I've done in my code. So I'll just copy everything from the notes and paste it in the webhook route, and then I'll explain what is happening. So of course, we are using the body parser so that there is a communication between our backend with the webhook. Then the post request, the webhook is going to send a request here, and we get the raw data. Then we get the signature, which is going to be request.headers.get Stripe signature. I need to get that documentation so that it's clear. So resources, there are resources here, interact with the webhook endpoint builder. So if you click on that, you can see that this is the same request that I'm making within the backend, but now this is using the normal JavaScript instead of TypeScript. So we are getting the request.body. Then we are also getting the endpoint secret, which is a const signature, is the same as request.headers.stripe signature. That's what I have here. Then let event be stripe.event. Then I have a try catch here. So event is going to be the stripe.webhooks.construct event. Pass the raw data, raw body, pass the signature, and now we pass the webhook secret. And after that, if it's not there, we catch the errors down here. Then we also connect to the MongoDB because we need to update the order. So if the event is there and the event.type is the same as the checkout.session completed, then we need to get that session. So event.data.object. Then we also need to get the order number from the event. So session.metadata.order number. So if we have the order number, we go to the database. So order.find1, which is the same as the order number. So if we have the order, then first of all, we change the status of that order. So it's going to be status.order. Then the amount is going to be exact amount that has been paid. Then we save everything. Now we can do some logs here just to ensure that it's working. Then after that, we log the errors and we send back the response to the webhook. And we are then receiving our information. So let's see if this is working. You can see there's 404. So this, the payment that we made earlier was sending this kind of webhook to the application. So, and it was successful here. Let me just go to the database and see if that has been updated. But we are going to make a real test. Still pending. So let's just remove this and start with the new payment. So before that, I'll need to just go back so that I'm able to get the webhook URL. Okay, it's still there. So the webhook secret, you can even reveal it. but I'm going to delete this endpoint, so don't worry about that. Just a minute. So I'll just type and see it's now listed. So if I click on this webhook, it's going to take me to this page and I'm able to copy the webhook secret. So going back to the code, we need to pass the webhook secret. So copy this, go to the environment variable, and I just paste it here. Then go back and get the webhook. So copy that and paste it there and save it. Because we are loading the environment variable, I'll just restart the app. So it's running, and just even reload the web page here. You're going to make one request and refuse to make the payment, and that is going to remain as pending. So click on that. So click on that. So I have 2 items, so I'll check out. So let's say we just decide to cancel this by clicking the back arrow here. It will take us back to the application. And if I go to MongoDB and just refresh, you'll find that there is an order that is still pending. So you see, this is pending. So let's make another payment now. And this time round, let's make it successful. So click on that. It takes us to the Stripe. Just type your email here and type the test card number, which is 424242. Then December 2025. Then I'm just going to use 11. Just going to use a Luku. You can see even our products are listed here. I forgot to tell you to check that. And it's showing your currency. So my currency in my country's currency, that is my Kenya shillings, then dollars. So I'll go ahead and pay this time round. So the payment is successful and returns back to the home page. So if I go to the database, I'll just refresh. And you can see there is my previous purchase, which I never paid. So it's still pending. And you see the other one now is successful, which shows that the status is paid. Then I'll come back, see even the logs from the webhook endpoint showing that this order marked as paid. So that is the webhook. Just a bonus is to create the order so that we are able to see our orders in real time in the front end. But this one is not supposed to be displayed in this application in normal scenarios or in production case. You'll need to display your orders in the admin dashboard. So I'm just going to simulate that here. So I'll go to the code base, and within my front-end section, this is the API. Okay, within the API, I'll also create the endpoint that is going to fetch all my orders. So I'll just create a folder here and call it orders. Then within this, I'll create the route, of course. So route.ts. Then I'll just get my code from the notes and explain what is happening. So I'm getting the connection for the MongoDB and calling it here. Then I'm getting my model, which I'm finding everything from the model. Then I'm sorting according to the created. So latest first, and I'm returning the response. As simple as that. So I need the UI for that. So I'll just go to the app section here and create orders UI. Then within the orders, I'll get page.tsx. Then I'll also just copy the code and paste it there. It's a very simple code to understand. So what is happening here is that I'm just making a request, a fetch request to this endpoint, the API orders like that. So if I go to my app and just visit the orders, that should be able to fetch all my orders. So it's loading, and you can see that I have all my orders here. So there's a paid one and there is a pending one, which means no payment has been done. So that is a basic or a simple implementation of Stripe and the Stripe webhooks on a Next.js application. Thank you for taking your time to watch the video. In case you have any questions, you can leave them in the section, or if you have any comment. See you the next one.